Hey everybody, Professor Snart checking in here as we get into Unit 9 in our online course. Excuse me. So we're just finished up the Unit 8 set of 2 units there, incorporating that secondary source into the essay and revising from essay number 1. So we've sort of done 2 essays for the course, but obviously the second essay was really just building on the first one. So we move into really the final section of the course now, looking at the final essay, topic, and then the rest of the units are really just working through various stages of the writing process. So it's useful to kind of take stock now in a couple of different ways. First off, you want to sort of look through your grades and see where you're at. Is there anything missing? If there is, contact me if anything seems kind of weird. I know there was a couple of students had problems with attaching the file this time around, but the majority of people didn't have that problem. So there's probably just some weird Blackboard setting or computer setting at home that somebody's got, or a file name that Blackboard doesn't like. Some weird thing that, you know, it's hard to diagnose without actually being able to sit down with people. But as long as you've contacted me about that, that's what's important. I do need to emphasize, though, as I would have told you in emails, I have to get it submitted through Blackboard because that's how the whole grading and document return system works. So in terms of archiving the course once it's all finished and having a complete record of grades and documents and all that kind of stuff, I do have to get it submitted through Blackboard, so we have to take care of that. And again, if you contacted me, it's not like you're now losing points because the essay's late. If you had problems submitting it, we just need to figure out what's going on and get it submitted successfully through Blackboard. Okay, but we look at Unit 9 now, which is really the kind of the beginning of the end, if you want to think of it that way. And as far as taking stock then, so looking at kind of grades up to this point and making sure everything is done complete and there's nothing weird going on. But then looking through the due dates and even maybe just scanning through our units list here to see how the rest of our units break down as far as, like I said before, working through the various stages of the writing process. So I'm just going to click into Unit 9 here. So our main reading is Death of a Salesman now. That's the last text for the course. It's a fairly long play, but it reads quite quickly. A lot of the pages are very quick dialogue exchanges, so it's not like big blocks of text that you're having to read. A lot of people are familiar with the play already, and one strategy I found in reading plays, I've had to do this with Shakespeare plays myself, is on the first page or one of the early pages, you'll always get the cast of characters or list of characters. I actually find it helpful to make a little 3x5 or a little index card kind of thing where you write those character names down and maybe a little kind of explanation of who it is, so that Willie Loman's the father, Biff is the older brother, Happy's the younger son. And so once you're deep into the play and somebody is talking, I know that if you're not familiar with the play, which you should be seeing, right, and not just reading, sometimes it's hard to remember, like, who is this character and what's their relationship to the person they're talking to, and having that kind of easily accessible has been really helpful for me. And again, remember that if you do get kind of confused like that, it's not unusual. And again, of course, the play is written to be performed and seen, so you would see immediately you know, which characters are which, and even the way that they deliver dialogue can sometimes be a little bit confusing by reading the play, because you don't know if it's delivered. Are they angry? Are they happy? Are they just stating facts? Again, so much of that comes out in the visual performance of something like a play. So don't get frustrated if you run into that kind of confusion, because I think it's pretty legitimate, and many people do run into that. But do yourself a favor and make that little index list of characters that you can easily refer to without having to flip back to that first page over and over again. Okay, so for Unit 9 then, there's a short discussion board assignment, basically brainstorming some themes that you see as important in the play. And then there's all the details here for the final essay, Of course, it's assigned here, but not due until the end of the course. But it's really important now to understand the components of, or the requirements for this final essay. So I'm going to go through them here, and I'll probably reiterate them as we get closer to the end of our course. So the length of the essay is 6 pages, which is not overwhelming. It's not like all of a sudden we have to produce a 20-page research paper or something like that. The source requirements, then, of course, you're going to have a primary text like the play or a short story or whatever, the main kind of thing you're talking about, the literary work. And then you also need 4 appropriate secondary sources, so not general web sources, not just unrelated material, right? Having those as sources is like the major mistake you can make at this point. So of the 4, at least one should be a book source. Probably you'll get it from the library. And the easiest thing to do is a subject search for the author that you want to talk about, so like Miller, Arthur. And that will give you all kinds of material probably about the play specifically, but also about his work more generally. So it's, of course, not a book by him. It's a book about him, specifically a book about, ideally, Death of a Salesman. And there's lots of books available in the COD library collection, but also in public libraries. So the good thing about dealing with a pretty famous work that you maybe have read already is that there's lots of research material. At least one of the sources should be a database source, which is the same thing that we've worked with really throughout the course. And so the remaining 2 of the total 4 that you need can be either print or electronic, your choice, but again, of course, they're appropriate, and if it's electronic, it's database. So it's not like you can just use the web or Google Books or whatever it is you happen to find. So you need to go through the steps of research to find appropriate material. So most people will probably use the one book, of course, and then the other 3 sources will likely be database sources, just because those are immediately accessible for people as far as the online environment, which is what we're in already. So 4 sources, total 4. At least one book, so not electronic source. There's a reminder here about various resources we have as far as help at the library, the writing center here on campus, and of course me throughout the process. If you have problems or questions or you're just not really sure, by all means take advantage of those resources. Okay, so you'll see next the topic guidelines, and what you'll notice that's different about this essay rather than the ones we've written before is that instead of giving you the prompts to choose from, like write about the theme of gender roles in boys and girls, for example, you're developing your own topic. So the good news is that you usually will end up with something that's a little bit more interesting to you because you've generated that topic, but it does present some problems right off the bat because you don't have that assignment that I'm just giving you, so you can start thinking about a particular theme or idea. So notice that what we do in Unit 9, the brainstorming part of it, brainstorming, possible themes or important themes in the play, is really an early stage for many people of the writing process here in terms of developing your own topic. And again, what you might find is that the topic you end up writing about for your final paper may stem from something that's on the discussion board in Unit 9, but it might be something that you yourself didn't post. It might be something that someone else said that maybe relates to something you were thinking about already or is a totally new idea you hadn't thought about. So it's really important that you read not just your own post, of course, or the ones that are required as far as responding, but click through and see what people are noticing that's important in the play. One of those ideas or just a key word can sometimes be the very thing that sparks the whole essay topic for you. Obviously, you're arguing a thesis, so of the kind that we've done before, not just a book report or summary or anything like that. And you should discuss no more than 2 primary texts, at least one from our book, so maybe the play, for example. But then the other primary text could be maybe not from our book, not even a book necessarily. It could be something like a popular film. So if you were to take more than one primary text, you can really think about your final essay as sort of a comparison. How does the theme of, and then fill in the blank, show up in both the play, but also this other book, movie, short story, whatever it is that you might be interested in incorporating. So notice that because you're developing your own topic, it's really important, especially if you feel like you're stuck or you have an idea that's not really coming together. It's really important to be in touch with me early rather than kind of getting halfway and then you're not really sure and then time goes by and it seems like the final essay is a long way off, but all of a sudden it's right around the corner. And not only have you not done the writing or research or any of that part of it, you're still struggling with the topic. So if you do feel like you just got writer's block, you kind of hit a roadblock as far as the topic part, be in touch with me early and we can dialogue back and forth and hopefully come up with something that is that's going to work for the essay, but also that's interesting to you. So you're writing about something that has some personal interest to you. The usual reminders, and then just to get the ball rolling, there is a quick assignment here to submit a tentative topic, and of course, since we're just getting into it, what you submit is going to be tentative. Maybe just an idea about a general theme and the primary text, like the play that you might want to talk about. And notice that it's an essay topic. It's not even the thesis necessarily, so you're not even to the kind of argument part of it. You really are just tentative, possible ideas. This forces you to put something on paper, but it's not a contract. You're not locked into it. So ideally, you're able to come up with a topic that works, quite early, but you may discover that the final topic or thesis that you write is actually a little bit different than what you submit early on in Unit 9 here. But it's important that you get something down so you're not delaying that process any longer. Okay, so that's quite a bit to think about. Read the assignment really carefully. Check the due dates and the units list just to see how things kind of piece out as we get towards the end of the semester here. And if you were one of those students who had problems with submitting Essay 2, then just keep in touch with me and be sure you do get that submitted correctly through Blackboard. If you didn't have any problems, and the majority of people didn't, so you never know what's caused these few glitches for people, be sure you go in and get that document I send back. It looks like some people didn't even look at the Essay 1 document with all the corrections and all that kind of stuff, so it's sort of a waste of my time to do all that commenting, but clearly it makes it really hard for you to, learn from those mistakes if you're not even seeing where the mistakes are and what the correction would be. So be sure you invest the time, just like I have in doing the comments. Be sure you invest the time in reading the comments. Kind of goes without saying, but it seems that some people, didn't do that step. Okay, so we have, I don't know, a month left or so in our course. Of course, we have spring break coming up, so that adds the time a little bit. But really important then that you kind of take stock of where we've been, look at where we're going, and be in touch with me about any issues that seem to be outstanding, but also, about topic ideas or questions about how you can get the final essay started, or what topics might work, or just anything that might come up. Okay, and I will talk to everybody soon, probably with lots of reminders about MLA citation and getting those primary and secondary texts correct.